and trade bill will have weather mitigation and modification in it. In other words, to help with climate change.
No, Obama's now said that. So now we'll pay Al Gore and Obama's private companies. Gore and Blood is the one in England with Mr. Blood and Mr. Gore, and literally, that's not a pun, folks. And then the one up in Chicago, the Mercantile that Obama's bought in on. Yeah, no, that's what they're saying. We're going to now publicly pay tax money to Al Gore to chemtrail us. You got to love that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out. I can tell you that there is an audio tape of the meeting, and I can get you a copy of the audio tape of that meeting because they allowed an audio tape to be made of the meeting. No film, but one audio tape. And so I can get you a tape of the meeting, and you can listen to these guys talk. And
unbelievable. This isn't out on the web yet? I mean, is it okay if I get it? Because I don't want to wait making my chemtrail film. I don't do that. I would immediately just put it on YouTube.
Yes. It's on...
I have children just like everybody else. I don't want them breathing chemtrails anymore. I just want to get it out.
Okay, the tape is on NewYorkSkywatch.com, I think. And, but I can get you, I think that it's about 3/4 of the tape, but I can get you the whole tape.
And you are just a sweetheart. In fact, I was going to ask you, how do we support what you're doing? You are just a workhorse at this. From doing my research, I mean, we've been interviewing for years, but just finding out how much you're doing. Tell folks briefly, I know I'm jumping around. I'm going to have you back on soon. How did you wake up to this? How did you get involved? And it's just so amazing what you're doing. And how do folks support you? And how do they go to the site at CaliforniaSkywatch.com and donate, or what do they do?
Well, what's happening right now is that I started in 2002 when a friend of mine, I was working for the Mendocino County Probation Department at the time, and during my lunch hour, he caught me downtown and took me into his office and said that he knew that there was some programs going on, and he wanted me to look up in the sky, and he wanted me to really look on certain days and to see these jets leaving these big plumes. So what happened is that particular day at lunch hour when we walked outside, the jets were just blitzing the place with all these, there was a great number of jets, and they were all leaving these huge contrails which just expanded and turned into these massive plumes and then covered our sky completely. And from then on, I was absolutely hooked because I realized that this wasn't right. And so then that's when my research started, and since then I've been really dedicated with this for most of the time since then.
This is such a massive story. And what did you think when, I know last year the CFR announced we're going to terraform the planet, we're going to spray you, it's great, we're going to save you, when the scientists say it'll heat things, but whatever. And we know that's just a cover, so the scientists go, oh, we're saving Earth, okay, keep it secret. From the unwashed, using these arrogant eugenicist terms, is what it's all about, to now having, all these mainstream news articles and BBC saying, oh, we're doing this for your own good, and then now having the president's chief scientist advisor saying, we may have to start doing this for your safety. What is it like to see them just coming right out with it? Why do you think they're doing that?
Because they've been doing it for a long time, and we're getting closer and closer to figuring out all the programs, and that they're dying to use it and do the experiments because they want the money. They see that they're going to get federal funds for it for the first time, and they can expand the programs. And so why not try it out? Why not do the experiments we've been studying and researching, and this is the payback for us. So a lot of these universities and researchers and geoengineers are going to come and get fully funded for a lot of these programs that have been sitting in the wings for years.
So as bad as chemtrailing is, they want it even bigger. That's what the CFR says. They say they want it globally everywhere. Speak to that and right now where we know it's going on the worst.
Well, I really think that everybody says that their own area is the worst, but I think the NATO countries are being hit the hardest, and I think that the United States and Canada is being really hit hard. They're hitting Brazil pretty hard in various places. But around the world, it's pretty global around the world that you very rarely can see any pictures now with blue skies. Most of them are man-made clouds. Professor Rosenfeld from Australia is talking about that at a meeting here of the Climate Change Commission, EPA, in Sacramento, California, he talked about that most of the clouds we see are man-made clouds. And I was early on in my research, and I had to rather pause and go, what? And now when you go to the NASA website, you type in man-made clouds, you've got all kinds of studies, all kinds of research, and they talk about man-made clouds. But the problem is that agriculture, human health, plant growth, tree health, everything depends on direct sunlight.
Well, let me stop you. Yeah. I mean, keep interrupting because, we had a big garden out at our ancestral family farm, and we've never seen a summer where plants wouldn't grow. And not this summer, but the summer before. It was chemtrails 5-6 days out of the week. Even here, my yard in the summer was dying. It was raining and mush. And the yard, basically, about half of it died. Trees were all dying and acting weird. And it was just pure chemtrails the entire summer all over Central Texas and East Texas, where I was at. I wasn't in other parts. And my uncle's garden, just nothing even grew.
That's correct.
And it was just solid chemtrails, just solid. There was no sky.
Right. And when you have all these man-made clouds and these plumes and the haze, you're not getting direct sunlight, which means that your trees won't grow properly, your crops won't produce well, your oceans don't function well either, because they need direct sunlight in order for all the processes here on Earth to work. And these scientists are beginning to say, well, we can put up, we can pretend like we're a volcano, like the one that just went off in Alaska, and we can put up these particulates and we can cool us down. But the Alaska
but that's backwards. All the scientists agree volcanoes cause heating.
Well, they cause a degree of cooling.
Well, cooling at first, but then heating. But go ahead.
But anyway,
my whole issue is they put out more carbon dioxide that they say heats the Earth. And I know when Krakatoa went off, it went down a degree, but then they've got these calculations then saying it makes CO2 go up and then later makes it go up. I'm saying from what they claim, but go ahead.
But what happens with this is that if you start to put these particulates up in these, they're even talking about shields and they're talking about all kinds of different, they must have 40 or 50 different solutions to all of this that they all want to do at the same time. So you won't even know what the synergistic effects are. But the problem is that we've got a case of where we're already getting a loss of direct sunlight called global dimming already. And when we say, well, global dimming is going on and we're putting up more cloud cover, but still we're warming. Well, we're warming because this cloud cover and all of these artificial things that are being done are heating us up and exacerbating the global warming. So we have to stop some of these man-made things, and the Earth would come back to more normal, and we could reduce the pollutants by taxing the polluters, like the EPA does now. Instead of thinking of that we're gonna have these offsets and polluters can buy offsets in order to pollute more. You see, this cap and trade and this carbon tax and all these things that they're deciding isn't going to reduce pollution one iota.
Okay, specifically, I want to go back from your scientific research and talking to scientists. Haven't they been reporting, though, that the chemtrailing overall causes the radiation to go through the clouds and then bounce back up and keep the heat in? So that part of the project is heating.
That part of the project is heating. So what they're already doing is they're heating. But see, I think that there might be another, this is speculation on my part, and I'll jump here into real speculation, is that I know that in the Arctic and in Alaska, I know that the oil companies and the military want to get into those areas and open up those areas for exploration and military programs. And see, what they're doing is they say, well, if we use water vapor and we heat it up in Alaska and we get it to melt, then we can go in, like ExxonMobil is doing right now, and we can exploit the natural resources in those frozen areas. So I'm not quite sure if we're not doing something deliberate here to warm up certain areas, and then the geoengineers like it because then they can call this a great problem that we're having, and we're going to solve global warming. But I think that they're exacerbating it, and I think that the jets and these big plumes, all of this stuff is heating us up. So
okay, let me throw another question at you because you're such an expert. I've got so many.